we're going to align our motor mount and bearing mount, and these will be made to magnet in to these, and there's studs on them to fit into these holes on the motor mount rail and on the bearing plate, one for each side. Once those are in place, it lines and perfectly aligns these two motor mount plates to the motor rails. So now once we have these in, we can now tighten our hardware on the motor mount and the bearing plate. Next, we're going to be installing the bearing and shaft assembly. We have another jig to help properly align the shaft and bearings. On these middle holes there, again, you've got studs on this and some magnets to help hold it in place. We set that plate on, and then there's another 2 sets of plates that go on both sides. The bearings and shafts come pre-assembled and put together. The longer section of shaft will be sticking forward or out of the fan, which where the blade will attach. So now with that lined up, we can drop our hardware in, our nuts and our bolts. Okay, so now we've got our bearing in our jig, and we've got our bolts and nuts on finger tight. The key with all this is to make certain that we are aligning the blade perfectly within the orifice. There still is a little bit of movement in all this stuff, even with the jig. So when you tighten that jig down, you reduce the movement and help center it up even more perfectly. Now in this case, since I'm by myself and I don't have a second set of hands, I'm just going to use a little vice grip to hold that together good. And now you've really tightened up that tolerance. So now I'm going to go ahead and tighten up my nuts and bolts for the bearing. And then you can remove your alignment braces.